Welcome, everyone. This is a special late night edition of Hollywood on the Rock. I'm Chris Gore. You're at the Film Threat YouTube channel, and we're here with three things today. First up, an early review, early reaction to Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. We'll be talking about that, plus the first article in a series by Alan Ng called The D-Files has just gone live minutes ago at filmthreat.com. You can go check out that story. We will discuss it. And Rebel Moon is coming to Netflix on Friday. And I have also seen that film. Plus, your chat comments and questions. It's the holidays. It's a late night Hollywood on the Rocks. Alan is here somewhere. Where is Alan? I knew he was going to be some... Oh, here's Alan.
Other than that, I'm in good shape.
That's Alan, but not the Alan that I remember. Where is Alan?
Ovaltine? A crummy commercial? Son of a bitch.
That's not...
Independent horror films scare the living poop out of my bunghole.
Bunghole. Bunghole. Kind of like that. Bunghole.
Okay, all right. It's Alan's going to be here any second. I just have to play the intro to the show. That's how I messed up. Alan. Well, there you are. You are, man. Okay, cool.
No, you could see I had to shave before coming on.
Wait, you did? You actually did shave?
Yep.
You actually did shave. All right.
Shave before.
I love it. I love it. How's it going, man?
Good. I have been resolute as to not having to go to LA this week. So I let you see all the movies.
Yeah, well, I mean it's scheduling issues, sometimes with us. I literally got home about 20 minutes ago from a screening of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom at the Grove. We're going to talk about it at the top after we see your chat comments, questions, and concerns. And then Rebel Moon I saw yesterday. So it's been a busy week. So we're going to give you early glimpses into those films. We'll talk about both of those. Plus the first in your series, The D-Files. And you were even saying before the stream, because I've read the story. I read you had like a first draft on like Sunday night. And I was like, wow, that's quick. It was quick. But this is the culmination of all the people that we've been talking to, current and former Disney employees who've reached out to us and have something to say. So this is the first of those articles. Mm-hmm. And you were telling me this is the tame one.
This is the tame one. This is just sets the stage of what happened. We're going to talk about the pivotal moment, the single moment that started the downfall of Disney to where it is currently today.
Well, and it's the holidays. Should I get this? We'll get the sleigh music playing kind of in the background. We're testing out this. We have a holiday show that we're going to be doing on Friday, which Friday we're going to review full reviews of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, review of Rebel Moon. Alan will have seen it. The Color Purple, Merry Little Batman. We're going to talk about that. It's a new Batman movie. On Prime Video. And a bunch of films. So Friday's going to be full-on reviews of movies, and Alan and I are going to spend Christmas together with you, meaning we have the coolest gift exchange on Friday. I don't want to hype it up too much, but I'm super pumped for us to exchange gifts via a live stream on Friday. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I've almost got your gift done.
You all done? It's okay. Even better, it's something handmade. I love that. I really appreciate it. But before we get to that, before we get to our to talk about Aquaman, let's see who's in the chat. We have chat comments and questions here. Wow, John Thomas is here for 10. Chris, have you reviewed Bass Reeves' very good, accurately portrayal of one of the most badass U.S. Marshals ever? John Wayne supposed to base Cahill on him. I haven't seen it, John Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
We will get to it.
But for this, we did honor Corsicana, which is a Bass Reeves story, but done from an indie filmmaker. So I'm quite excited to watch the Bass Reeves on Paramount Plus.
There you go. Mark Perkins says, Merry Christmas, y'all, for 2. And oh my gosh, Buford T. Justice says for $49.99.
Merry Christmas, Buford.
It says, Merry Christmas, boys. That's great. And Eric Stratton's here, member for 12 months, says, I know you like to give, but so do I. An out-of-the-world present is coming your way soon. Cheesy, sort of. Well, thank you, Eric Stratton. I've got some cards, actually. I'm going to save them for Friday. But we're going to go over, I've got cards, letters to read. And so the first half of the show on Friday is going to be just reviews. We're going to do quick reviews of everything. And then we're going to spend like the last 40 minutes or so doing Christmas stuff. You'll be part of our Christmas party. But this is awesome. We do have a Rebel Moon related chat comment. We're going to save it for when we discuss it. Okay. So leave that one at the top. From Rumble, we are live on Rumble. Winter Soldier sub-supporter says, boo, Alan needs to grow the Fu Manchu. Well,
yeah, you know. We've teased it. I've not yet decided if I'm going to ever do that again.
And Andrew Monpetit, who I have met in real life. I am a post-coffee, but I'll just say this isn't coffee. That's all I'm going to say on that. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. Maybe Irish coffee, Frank Gore? Possibly. Who can tell? Who can say at this point? But we're going to launch right into it. We did start the stream a little early. So I'm going to, I'm going to lose this sound effect. We're going to save it for our Christmas show. Let's get right in to Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Just to set this up, hang on a sec. I have to get into the right thing here. I know what I'm doing most of the time. Here's my early reaction to Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and we should tee this up. This is the sequel to the 2018 film Aquaman, starring Jason Momoa and Amber Heard. And this film was, I would describe it as something of a lost film, in the sense that this movie made $1.2 billion. James Gunn comes in and has now taken over the DC franchise. Now he's in charge, and I believe too soon announced that, well, all these other movies that haven't come out yet, everything from Black Adam, Shazam 2, The Flash, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the follow-up to Aquaman, he kind of threw them under the bus and basically told all of us they were irrelevant. And every single one of those movies underperformed. Why? Doesn't matter. Those movies don't seem to matter to the DC universe, cinematic universe going forward. That's 4 films that we're told, you know what? Forget that. We're going to start the whole thing over with a new Superman. He had the opportunity to continue it. James Gunn had the opportunity to continue with the universe as it had already been built up, and could have even had Henry Cavill as Superman and had some vision with the castings that were already in place. That didn't happen. But I'm only going to give you my early reaction with no spoilers. Alan and I will be discussing it on our Friday show. But here's what I'll tell you about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And I'm going to dispel a few rumors. I'm going to tell you my thoughts. First of all, there's no dead baby in this. We meet Aquaman at the beginning of the movie, and Aquaman is a proud father. He's now built a family with Mira, as portrayed by Amber Heard. And as was reported to me last week, yes, there is 2 scenes where Aquaman's baby pees in his face. In fact, not just his face, in his mouth. It's a goofy, dumb sense of humor.
It's brave and it's beautiful.
Whatever. It's played for laughs. It could have been worse, is all I'm saying. Amber Heard is in the film. And I'll just say this. Aquaman's baby is not murdered in this, is not killed. They do not kill the baby at all. Now, is the baby in peril? Yes. Does he get killed? I'm just gonna tell you, whether you consider it a spoiler or not, it's been out there. He does not. The little boy is fine. Amber Heard. Let's talk about Amber Heard. She is in the movie. I would say about 20 minutes of the film. She's in about the first 10 minutes. And then she's in about the last 10 or 15 minutes. Here's what's odd about Amber Heard in this movie. She's in the movie, but she doesn't play a big part. How did they do this? There's an opening action sequence that involves Nicole Kidman's character and Amber Heard's character, and they're racing around in the undersea kingdom. And Amber Heard Mira gets injured in a way. I think this is kind of funny. She's injured in a way where she has an injury on her neck, and she doesn't talk for much of the film. I'll say this. She's in the movie for 20 minutes and has about 5 or 6 lines in the film, many of them inconsequential. And she's not a big part of the film, which feels weird. They 100% shot around diminishing her character, and she is a presence. I don't see how and you could tell the opening montage, which kind of is just like Aquaman talking about his life. I'm a dad now, stay-at-home dad, but I also have all these responsibilities. I'm the king. So he's the king of Atlantis, and he's got to do a lot of boring stuff as king, but he loves being a dad, and he loves drinking Guinness with his dad, played by Tamura Morrison. He just loves drinking Guinness, beer, and kind of kicking around, being a dad and changing diapers. And that's what Aquaman does. Hoo-ah! That's my Jason Momoa as Aquaman. So we kind of get a setup of what his life is. And then Black Manta comes back. Black Manta discovers a power source that was used by ancient Atlanteans that is also dangerous to the earth. So there's a whole messaging throughout the film of like hurting the environment using power sources, right? Like the earth, the surface dwellers are ruining the environment. We used to do that, but we figured out through science different ways. We don't do that anymore. There's sort of two, in terms of like messaging and the message, there's only 2 things in this film. One is about the environment, which is fine. I think Aquaman was always sort of an environmentally based superhero. Obviously preserve the oceans, don't pollute or litter. Fine. I don't have a problem with that.
And love the animals.
And there's love the animals, but there's also a thread about eating bugs. I'm not joking. There's a thing about eating bugs. How do I want to put it? Like, Patrick Wilson's character, the Ocean Master, he as a joke, Aquaman's like, hey, you should eat these bugs. And then he kind of likes eating bugs. It comes out. There is no post-credit scene. There's sort of a button at the end, and I'm not going to tell you what that is. I won't tell you what that is. Also, a character, Randall Park, plays a much bigger role in this film. He's Dr. Stephen Shin. He's working with Black Manta, but he feels as a scientist, he feels a little guilty. He understands the dangers that this new power source, has introduced. And Black Manta finds this broken trident that once connected, he then becomes possessed by a demon. The demon who was the head of this old realm, the Lost Kingdom, that is referenced in the title for the film. So Black Manta's wholly obsessed with destroying Aquaman and his whole family while he's possessed by this demon spirit from this old lost realm in the undersea world. This is straight up. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the action sequences. This is straight up a Super Friends cartoon from the 70s and 80s. It is the worst script for any DC movie that has ever been written, and I'm including The Flash. Okay.
For Wonder Woman 84.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
It's stupid. There are dumb lines where I feel like, was Jason Momoa just like goofing on the set and they left that in? Because he talks a lot. Once he reconnects with his brother, he has to break his brother out of prison. And when he breaks him out of prison, they then reconnect. It becomes like a buddy movie. This is all in the trailer and has been reported. But once they do that, he jokes. There are multiple jokes about getting drunk, getting tacos and tequila, drinking beer. That's just Jason Momoa.
Well, that's the connection with the end of The Flash, remember?
Exactly. He's just like, he loves to drink and just hang out and be Jason Momoa. But I'll say this. While it has the dumbest script for any DC film, maybe not as bad as Wonder Woman 84. It's just stupid. This movie's incredibly fun. Where I had to kind of check myself where I'm like, I know this is dumb.
I mean, you said this about Thor when you walked out of Thor.
No. Let me finish. All right. This is. If you were 7 years old and you saw this film, you'd think this is a cartoon. It's stupid. I had fun. Now, is it a great movie? No. Our audience is going to care? No. I'm surprised how Mira is handled in this, where it's like she's there as a character, but they literally took her character and she has like so few lines. So she's in scenes and she just doesn't talk.
She just exists.
She's literally in the scene. They're like, oh, just cut all of her lines. The other thing is the movie is it's just like 2 hours with credits, and it feels just the right length for once. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is not a great superhero movie. This is a cartoon for children. Okay. And what I'm surprised about is, whereas you look at the Marvels, I'll just, on the scale of like Marvels to anything better than the Marvels, this is better than the Marvels. Now, that's a very low bar. It's an incredibly low bar, but the movie is so stupid. Anyone that would try to take this seriously is, it's an adventure for children. That's what this is. Now, children, I mean, probably single digit age through like maybe 15, 16. But it's also, the one thing I also found refreshing is it's unburdened by the check boxes that Marvel always feels obligated to include. None of that is here at all. So what can I say? I had a good time. Is it a good movie? No. Did I have a good time? Yes. I just like some of the action sequences are so ridiculous. You know, he's got this seahorse that he rides around. There is an octopus that he buddies up with to help break his brother out of prison. That sequence, there's just like ridiculous over the top action sequences where you could look at the Marvels and you would say, well, how did the Marvels cost $300 million? And then I look at Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and I say, well, at least it looks like the money's on screen and it's not all green screen or the volume. There's actual real locations and they built sets. And I like the arc with Randall Park's character. I thought that worked. And it's a message about family and responsibility. It's all those things where, you know, that are absent from modern day films. And it's interesting. It's like, oh, wow, this is like Marvel movies when Marvel movies were fun and just fun. Now, it's incredibly ridiculous. That's why I compare it to Super Friends. Like if they did a Super Friends cartoon from the 70s, of the old school like Aquaman, and then just made like a 90-minute or 2-hour like Aquaman adventure, this would be it. It feels like an animated movie that has that Super Friends kind of tone. Now, are there cameos from other DC characters? There are zero, none, at all. So, and there's sort of a ridiculous button ending that I'm not going to get into spoiler stuff. You and I will get into spoilers on Friday after other people have had an opportunity to see it. Because I went in with my expectations are so low for this thing that's part of, I think, why I had fun with it, is because I didn't take this movie seriously. Just like, the Sam Jones Flash Gordon from the 80s. It fits in well with that. So, surprised that I had a good time. Not a great film. And, it's a little sad. Like, this is the chapter closing on the Snyderverse. That's it. They had that little intro that they do for all the DC films, where you see the intro that they've used. And Mike, obviously that's going to change, but it was just so like, I'm like, I know this is stupid, but they're just beating the crap out of giant mechs underwater. It just gets, every action sequence just tops it over and over. So you could say at least James Wan did his job as director to make it, I mean, it moves quick. You can tell that it could have been a 2.5-hour slog. They cut it to a tight 2 hours where it's just like, builds towards a third act with actual stakes. And, I don't know. I had fun, but I can't defend the quality. I'll just say better than the Marvels. What are you laughing at, Alan?
Yeah, it's like it was bad, but I liked it. It was, I mean, I'm seeing it tomorrow, and so far in my IMAX theater, it's me and this other guy,
right?
And I'm like, I mean, I'm doing it. I'm doing it for you guys.
Look, you're going to be able to see it in 24 hours, right? Everyone will have seen it. I'm just saying. In fact,
I will, in 24 hours, I will be in the theater watching this movie.
Can I just say this? Okay. What superhero movies came out this year? Let's do an inventory.
Okay.
Right?
Blue Beetle.
The
Marvels. Guardians of the Galaxy. Ant-Man.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is the best superhero movie.
Okay. Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Flash.
Okay. All right. Those are the superhero movies that came out this year doing an inventory. Guardians 3, the best of those films. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Shazam. We forgot Shazam.
Shazam, yeah. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, probably the second best. Like, if Guardians 3 is here, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom's here, and then everything else below is whatever. It was just refreshing to see a movie that isn't, because I feel like with Marvel, they're so obsessed with, we got to have the check boxes. We got to make sure we got everything there for everybody to see. You got to have this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing. And the check boxes is what's killing Marvel. Yeah. Everyone involved with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, there was one checkbox that I felt that they checked fairly well, which is fun. I messaged a friend of mine on social media. I said, the 7-year-old version of yourself would love this movie. And I thought that way as I was watching. And I watched, do you watch the show on YouTube? It's called Saturday Morning Cartoons.
No.
It's where they look at old cartoons, and they actually, I didn't even know that this happened. It's the guys from Chop and Steal. They do this show.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
It's the Found Footage Festival. Go to the Found Footage Festival. Found Footage Festival has a YouTube channel, and they have a show every Saturday morning called Saturday Morning, and they watch like rare cartoons. I didn't realize that in the Super Friends show, they killed Batman. They did a whole thing where they killed Batman. They show like these rare episodes that didn't air, because it went into syndication. They didn't there were certain episodes they didn't show. So they'll dig up these old episodes. And I was watching that going like, oh, I remember how fun the Super Friends were watching that when I was a kid. This is an episode of the Super Friends taken from 2D animation into 3D. They're
Yeah.
absolutely. There's a character called Kingfish that Aquaman and his brother have to go see. They're talking to Kingfish, who's basically Jabba the Hutt with a bunch of sexy fish women in bikinis. Like, you're not going to see that in a Marvel movie. They're like sexy fish people in this film.
You know, one thing you mentioned was the one thing I missed in the first movie was, you know, Aquaman talking to fish. And it sounds like we've got that in this one.
It's in this one. It's definitely in this one. And they do even the same effect from the Super Friends.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, boop, boop, boop. It's like these little, like, you know, circles that kind of go out. They do a 3D version of that. So it's like talking to fish. He discovers early on that his son can talk to fish. And so, I don't know.
Like Ahsoka and Hera's son.
Exactly. Yes, as the Jedi powers.
Yeah. No, I mean, so what you're saying is that Aquaman was made for little preteen boys and not for comic book fans.
I don't know. I don't know the Aquaman comics as well. I only know from the cartoons and some of the animated. The DC animated stuff is, some of those are fantastic. They're straight up like adaptations.
Yeah. But I mean, I think Super Friends is. I mean, Super Friends is the one I'm most familiar with because I watched it every damn Saturday morning.
I grew up watching Super Friends, loved it as a kid. Literally, this is Super Friends if they did like 4 episodes of Super Friends just telling one Aquaman story. That's what it is. And on that level, the movie, because every movie, you can't judge every movie the same. What's it trying to be, right? You can't judge Oppenheimer with the same set of eyes as a superhero movie or a movie made for children. You can't judge Migration the same way you judge like other films.
Yeah.
I've seen Migration, by the way. I have thoughts on that. We'll talk about that Friday. So you don't have to see it, Alan.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. So some things I'm picking up from you. One is, you know, it's fun. I think the intent was the Marvels was going to be fun. Where did Aquaman succeed where the Marvels failed?
They had a genuine buddy relationship with his brother, and they don't like each other, but they have to work together towards a common goal.
So there's conflict between the main characters.
There's conflict between the main characters.
All right.
And there are moments where, you know, they're just, we'll get into spoilers on Friday. How about we do that?
Yeah.
Because there are certain things that I want to talk about. I just don't want to ruin surprises.
Yeah.
So, and Black Manta is a good villain. It's something that Marvel's always struggled with. One, too many checkboxes to make it fun. Okay. Here's what Marvel struggles with. Too many checkboxes that make it sort of sucks the fun away. Aquaman doesn't have that. The other thing is about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. You don't need to see any other DC movies. If you've seen Aquaman, you can just watch this as the second film.
Yeah. You
You don't need to know about the events that happened in Justice League or Zack Snyder's Justice League or The Flash. Nothing that has happened in any other DC properties affects this movie. It is literally a sequel, direct sequel to the first Aquaman film. That's the only movie you need to have seen. And you know what? If you haven't seen it, don't worry. You get a little sum up at the beginning. You don't need to have seen even Aquaman to watch Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So
I'll say this. I mean, one thing that I'm picking up from you regarding Aquaman versus the Marvels is there's a self-awareness. There's an awareness of what this story is, and we're going to kind of build that. It may not be the greatest story in the world, but it's a story for kids. It's just meant to have fun. Versus the Marvels, where they thought they were making something great, and it just fell apart from the very beginning.
And Black Manta's a really good villain. The actor that plays him, let me get his name, is Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
Yes.
I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly. He's very good, and he almost has like a Khan-like madness. He's scarred from his conflict with Aquaman in the original film, so he's out for revenge, but now he actually has the power where he can like face Aquaman head on. he's amassed this power. He's been sitting there waiting for his revenge, and it's coming. So, and also Dolph Lundgren comes back as King Nereus. Like, so there are other parts, but you don't even need to have. You don't even need to.
I barely remember the first movie, honestly.
Look, I barely remember it either. I'm just like, he became Aquaman. Great. Yeah. He hooked up with Mira. And they kind of give you a little sum up at the beginning, but it's literally, but the point is that the problem with the Marvels was there were so many like required things that you needed to know before you watch the Marvels, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, you don't need to know. Now, will this movie be a hit? Unfortunately, it will not. Mainly because of where we are now, that there have been so many weak superhero films, people don't want to gamble and just go see another one. I mean, we were looking at the box office and like how many people have bought tickets. You're literally in a theater by yourself, Alan.
Yeah, it's me and another person so
right
far in our large IMAX theater.
But you know what? I never felt with the Marvels that I ever wanted to see the movie ever again. And with this, I'm like, this was so stupid fun. I would see this like with an audience. So, and there's nothing that like, I know people are kind of shocked to hear me say this, but my expectations were so, and the movie, the trailers show you nothing. You haven't seen anything.
The trailers do a disservice to the movie because I don't know anything about the story from the trailer other than Patrick Wilson's back and Black Manta hates Aquaman.
That's all. That's the basics. Black Manta is out for revenge. He's out for power, revenge. He wants to kill Aquaman and his family. And Ocean Master.
Yeah. And there's never been a superhero movie that ever had that plot. Ever.
Look, at least it's not checkboxing. You know what I mean? The checkboxing that Marvel is known for.
There's no eye-rolling moments. I think that's what we're saying.
Well, if there are eye-rolling moments that have to do with how dumb some of the lines are.
Right.
Like,
but in terms of the message and the lecturing, there's no lecturing in the movie.
There are groans, but not cringe.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
The cringe would be like, like another.
Yeah. It's like in the Batman, the one line that took everyone out of the movie.
That there's nothing like that. There are no cringe lines, but there are eye roll lines just because it's so dumb.
Yeah, it's dad joke lines, basically.
Dad joke lines, but not even that bad. But there you go. My early reaction is the 7-year-old version of me who used to love watching Super Friends enjoyed watching Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
I'm still not excited to see the movie, but I am more optimistic that it won't be a horrible time.
Right. Let's go to your chat comments and questions here. We're going to start from the top with super chats, then we'll go through. Here we go. Stitch for 5, who's a member. What are these spoilers for Aquaman's deuce? No, I don't know. Do you consider that his baby, it was reported online, or there was a rumor that Aquaman's son dies? That is not the case. The baby is in peril, but is not dispensed with. Let's just say that.
Yes. Well, I learned from Marvel that babies are pooped out. So
oh my God. Oh my God. Lover of Green for 10. Have you guys seen Percy Jackson on D+? I was expecting it to be woke garbage, but the show came out all right. I love the OG PJ books, and I hope the show doesn't fall off a cliff a la Mando season 3.
Okay.
Lover of Green.
I'll respond to this because my kid ran home from school today to watch Percy Jackson, and she is a massive fan of the books, massive fan of the musical, and so far loves what she sees.
A friend of mine has seen the first 3 episodes and loved it.
Yep.
So there you go. Now, who produced Percy Jackson? It's not Lucas.
It's Disney.
It's just Disney.
Disney production. Yeah. I mean, the books are from Disney. Richard Riordan, or is it? No, it's not Richard Riordan. Rick Riordan is overseeing the project. And so it's, you got the author involved handily. So all signs are that this should honor the original series.
All right. That's good to hear. Thank you, Lover of Green. Alan, will you do a review of it? Like in the coming weeks?
I actually have to watch it.
All right. You and I have so much to watch. It's crazy.
I'll talk to you later. But I know
Okay, okay.
I never got screeners
you.
for it, and I'm wondering if there's a reason for that.
Jason Nelson for 2 says, is Momoa in a suit the whole time to cover dad bod? No, he wears the well, he's sort of like in non-Aquaman mode. I'd say about maybe half the film. In the other half of the film, he's wearing the orange suit.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad he's wearing the orange suit, the orange and green.
He's wearing the orange green. I'd say it's about 50-50. I don't know. Does he have a dad bod now? I don't know. I mean, he looked good to me. I don't know. I mean, there you go. Lancy Bleeds Blue, formerly Lancy Boo Boo, for 199. Well, shout out to the 199. Thank you for that. Sebs Duran for 20. My favorite channel on YouTube, LFG. What's LFG?
I don't know.
Alan, can you check?
I feel like the F is effing, but let's see. LFG.
Merry Christmas, brethren. I'm sorry. I just learned what SMH means. Shake my head.
Let's see. Oh, let's effing go.
Let's effing go. Oh my God. I should have known that. I should have known.
Or looking for group.
How about like let's effing go? Yeah. Thank you, Sebs. Appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you. Lancy Bleeds Blue, formerly Lancy Boo Boo, for $4.99. Chris, any chance you guys will review The Oath? Curious to hear your thoughts about the film. We interviewed did we interview the director?
Yes, we interviewed the director.
Yeah. And I don't know if we will, but on the website.
Yes, we have someone reviewing it at this moment.
Yeah, so my apologies, Lancy. Alan and I are just 2 movie fans who love films, and we probably get pitched a Film Threat between 50 and 100 movies a week. That is not an exaggeration, but 50 is sort of consistently comes in. Then we get like weeks that peak up, and then certain times of the year where we get a lot of films. We do the best we can. Alan and I represent Film Threat on YouTube, and then Film Threat is represented, the website, which we're going to show you in a minute, is represented by about 30 plus writers who contribute reviews to the site. There will be an Oath review on the site. I promise you that. Thank you for the support there. Aquaman for 10. Under the sea. That's why it's hotter. I made love to an otter under the sea. Okay, one thing that just proved, I can't sing. And I come from a family of singers. Literally, my dad was a professional singer. My sister sings at her church. I can't sing. But thank you, Aquaman. That's very generous. All right, more. Okay, we got through the super chats. I'm going to start from the bottom. Okay. And we're going to get normal chat questions here, and then we've got the D-Files coming up and Rebel Moon. So stay tuned. Wait, okay, Rebel Moon's not developed, but Sofia Boutella's gorgeous. Says Zac Efron and Jason Momoa, 2 most beautiful males in Hollywood currently. Yeah, well, they should do a He-Man movie. Zac Efron would be perfect. He's got the hair for it. Video Manon Gizmo says, was it you, Chris, who rated my films Christmas Blood and House on your page? Just fun to find them there. I did not.
No, but someone did.
Someone did, and there you go. Better than The Flash, says T from Laos. Yes, because he's not, the guy who plays The Flash isn't in it. Like, not even a cameo.
Yeah, but Amber Heard is in it.
Amber Heard is in it, but
she can't be heard.
Amber Heard literally cannot be heard in the movie. She is just like, it's like she's in scenes and you see her like participating, and it's like they just cut the lines down. Like if she was getting paid by
her vocal cords, apparently.
Yeah, but I would say definitely more fun in terms of like a whole work, because to me the Flash movie, Ezra Miller is insufferable. And the Flash movie for me was like, oh, I love this part where they bring in Michael Keaton Batman. That just brought back 89 vibes. I'm actually seeing Batman Returns at the American Cinematheque at the Egyptian on Saturday. I'm going to see Batman Returns at 4 p.m. show because it's a Christmas movie. Yeah, it's better than The Flash because it chose to be it made a choice about what it's going to be. We're just going to make a fun movie with Aquaman. That's it. No cameos, no cliffhangers. No, we're setting this up. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom isn't trying to set up another film. It is just a self-contained superhero movie that's not a sequel to 7 other things. It's not like setting up the next thing. It's one and done. That's it. Better than The Flash. But the bar is low for all this stuff. Yeah. It's so low that that's not a hard thing to reach.
Yeah, I mean, I would always have pushed against the idea of superhero fatigues, but the momentum of superhero films over this year does no justice for the last 2 superhero films.
Sebs, I'm gonna get to your comment here, but I want to stick to only comments related to Aquaman here. So here we go. Zack Snyder's Aquaman 2, 4 hours of shirtless combat and brutal death while sirens lament, says Joe Snowden. It's not what happens.
This is if Zack Snyder had done Aquaman 2. It would have been 4 hours of shirtless combat with brutal death.
Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson have great chemistry. Both seem like chill, genuine guys, says Aaron Taylor. That's what made it like fun. It was these 2 guys who obviously like working together. They have a conflict mainly because they have conflict because
he's an odd sibling pairing.
It's a sibling. They didn't get to grow up as brothers, and you see, I don't want it definitely has that buddy comedy aspect to it. But yeah, Aaron, that's there. Let's see. Carlos Alfredo Lopez. Okay, Chris, you got me with the sexy fish people. Lol. It literally is like a character called Kingfish that's based on he sort of has a Jabba the Hutt vibes because he's surrounded by all these fish women that have like the slave Leia outfit, but on sexy fish with fish boobs. I'm not making this up. Sexy fish. Someone has to do an AI of that. Jerry L says, so it's good enough movie to watch on Tubi TV. Absolutely, you can watch it on Tubi. Attack of the Dock is on Tubi.
Yeah. It'll probably show up on TBS or TNT at some point.
So wait, no obligatory random Gal Gadot Wonder Woman cameo, says Andrew Mumpetit. There is not.
They could not.
There are no cameos.
They could have pulled it off, really.
With or without the Wonder Twins, smile with a tongue sticking out, says Lod.
Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers.
Nope, nothing like that.
Okay.
And let's see. We've got some more super chats. Oh, Chrissy Latimer says, hey, Chris, check out the Retro Prior 1977 special. 0.2 seconds in, it's you. Where can I find that? Is that a YouTube thing?
Probably on Tubi somewhere.
Probably on Tubi. We're gonna go from the bottom super chats. Rebel Moons. I'm gonna save that for when we talk about Rebel Moon. Stitch for 5. Ms. P Coffee deserves a raise. All in favor? Now I see how that got starred. For sure. Yeah, I agree. John Snowden for 199. Batman Returns is a Christmas movie. And Sabs Duran for 5 says, also, in y'all's review on Iron Claw, you mentioned it was a message about family. Could you expand on that? It would be a spoiler.
Yeah.
The very
end. It's more about brothers than it is about family.
But brothers are family?
Well, I mean, the story is about the brothers. And
the story is about the brothers and their relationship. And there is a moment at the end of the film when
about brotherhood.
There's a moment. So just go see the movie, Sebs. Yeah. You're going to love it. But that final scene, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. What?
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. I don't want to ruin it. Go see Iron Claw. It opens this week. Am I right?
Yes, on Friday or tomorrow.
It opens this week. There have been these little screenings here and there.
Yeah.
But it officially opens tomorrow to everyone. Sebs, don't miss it. Red Pilled Rants for $4.99. So it sounds like what you're saying is they gave Aquaman the Thor treatment. How original. Well, happy Hollywood holiday, boys.
Yeah.
But wasn't Aquaman always kind of a goofy? They made him a little goofy.
No, I think he's referring to the brother. Thor had Loki.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't know. I just think that there are
well, and it's also the guy who would be king but doesn't necessarily want to be king.
Right. But I also think that there were, especially that last Thor movie, there were parts that were just insufferable and cringe. I don't think there was anything in this that was cringe, unless if you are bothered by Amber Heard, you will not like this movie. I don't care about her. I think Amber Heard is a person who is a horrible person, who appears to be in court and in her relationship with now Johnny Depp's no angel, but she seems not to be a great person, and she plays a character named Mira, and she's in the movie for, I don't know, I'd say less than a third of the film. And even when she's in the movie, they made it so she's kind of not in the movie, meaning she's in scenes in many different ways, but she just has no lines. I don't know who made that as a choice. It just makes it feel like she's barely in the movie. She's in the movie like 20 minutes.
Yeah. And there's that scene where the baby poops the bed, but was it the baby?
Alan? Oh my God. All right. Sounds like Arlong should have been in this film, says Warren Price Ray. Well, there you go for $199. And last comment here from Braxton Wages says, it's funny, Jason Momoa looks like Ocean Master from the comics, and Patrick Wilson looks like Aquaman in the comics. Yeah. Lol. Okay, by the way, I thought the same thing. I'm looking at Patrick Wilson and he has blonde hair, and I'm watching going like, you're Aquaman. They should have gotten Patrick Wilson, could have been Aquaman, more regal. Like he's regal. He's got like that sort of kingly nature about him. He's got the blonde hair. And at a certain point, there are things that in this movie that are just bad just because the choices that they made for a couple things. One, sometimes it got confusing about, are they underwater or are they in the air? Because you can only tell from the hair because they just talk underwater with no bubbles. Like there is no like scientific logic to this. I do believe that when Zack Snyder with Justice League tried to make some sort of logic about how they communicate underwater, James Wan just throws it out the window. He's like, whatever. I just want to make a fun movie that kids will like. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, you are.
And Super Friends didn't do that either. So
what's that?
Super Friends never did that either.
No, didn't really care. But that's why I compare this to Super Friends. This is a Super Friends live action movie, if that makes any sense. But Braxton, you are 100% correct. You will think that if you see the film, you're going to look at certain scenes from the movie. You're going to go, why don't they just have Patrick? He's at least more accurate as to the comics and the Super Friends. So there you go. That's my early reaction. And look, I am just as surprised as you. I did not expect to actually enjoy myself at all. Maybe it's the season. I'm enjoying the holidays, but it didn't come with baggage or burden like Marvel movies see. Almost every Marvel movie seems to come with baggage, burden. You have to know this. You have to know that. Oh, you don't know. Oh, there's another Easter egg. I'm sure there's a ton of Easter eggs in this.
Well, I mean, I just want a good story. The Marvels was, I believe that they felt self-important while making that movie. That they were doing something grand. That they were, we have the three women leading a Marvel movie, and not to say that they couldn't have pulled it off, but the reality is they couldn't pull it off.
Well, you need a story I care about, and that was not present there. Okay, we're gonna pivot, folks. We have to talk about. We have breaking news. We literally have breaking news. Okay. So we're going to pivot. A lot of times when we pivot, I like to play a video. So should I play a video? Alan, I heard you were home alone last night.
Other than that, I'm in good shape.
What did you do?
Creepy as hell.
It is. It's
like that Sinestro, or what the big forehead in that one.
Wait, what is this? What's this have to do with me?
It is you. We meet again, Mr. Crow. Crow, not Crow, Crow.
I love that.
Never gets old.
I love
Never
that.
gets old.
I don't
All
know. I could still watch Old Get Smart and laugh incessantly.
Let's talk about this, Alan.
Yeah.
After Alan Ng's review of the film Wish, current and former employees have from Disney and in the world of animation reached out to Film Threat. And the letters were heartbreaking, telling a story of a company that has been the best word, the word that was used consistently that we kept noticing in all the correspondence was activists. Activists have kind of taken over and led to a lot of changes in the type of content that Disney produces. After weeks of getting these letters, the first in a series of stories have now appeared at filmthreat.com. I'm going to share screen, and then I'm going to hand it over to you, Alan. Sorry. This is the front page of Film Threat. We post new film reviews every day. Go on our front page. A lot of indie film reviews, a lot of movies you may not have heard of, anything from indie short films to features, whatnot, horror, sci-fi, name the genre, we cover it, along with a lot of all the mainstream movies do appear. I know there'll be a review of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, but on the front page of Film Threat right now, the first story, The D-Files, Part 1, Disney and the Downfall of John Lasseter. Alan, tell us about this story.
Yeah. So this is the first of the series, and I felt like this was the most important story to tell right off the bat, because I think it was John Lasseter's resignation that kind of started the downfall of Disney, both creatively and financially. And so we kind of go into the specifics here of what happened, and so it just starts off, and I set the stage, the fact that Pixar was Pixar is basically the gold standard when it comes to CG animation, feature animation, starting with Toy Story and to today. And it was clear that the figurehead, the person you saw all the time when you ever talked about Pixar was John Lasseter. And then, because of Michael Eisner's follies, there was a announcement of a divorce between Pixar and Disney. Disney would no longer be the distributor of Pixar films, and that they were going to go and do films for another studio. And at which point, a coup took place, taking down Michael Eisner. Roy Disney was kind of responsible for that, Roy Disney Jr., and installed Bob Iger. And one of the early things Bob Iger did was buy Pixar, and not only buy Pixar, but now put John Lasseter in a position of prominence. At which point, at this point, was the chief creative officer of both Disney and Pixar, and that role spanned not just the animation department, but everything, theme parks, and so you saw this kind of renaissance occurring with Disney. There's a lot of excitement behind it. Everyone was saying Bob Iger is an amazing guy because he bought Pixar, he bought Marvel, he bought all these things. And what we soon see is that there's a lot of attention being given to John Lasseter. In fact, I think you could say that John Lasseter could have been the Walt Disney of the Walt Disney Company, in terms of being the figure at the forefront, being the lovable guy. Everything you felt about Walt, the congeniality of that, you felt with John Lasseter. And so the question was that were they going to allow this to continue? Was were there things going on in the background? People concerned about John Lasseter taking on the mantle and being the figurehead, and one day taking over the entire Disney operation? Well, we don't know, but we do know what happened to him. Two things happen. One is one thing you don't know about John Lasseter is he's a really lovable guy. You know this part. He's a incessant hugger. He loves to hug. He has a penchant for hugging and showing affection. But the other side of John Lasseter you don't know is the fact that he is a perfectionist. In fact, he demands the best out of everyone who works for him. And if you were to present an idea or a project or some scene that you were working on to John, it was almost as if all emotion left him, and he would critique your work, and he would tear it to shreds. And not only that, not only would he tear it to shreds, but then he would tell you why your idea sucked, but then tell you how you make it better. And some people would consider that to be, a good thing, a learning opportunity. But what seems to have happened is some people didn't take it that way, and so maybe some resentment was being built up. People were observing this, and then on the other hand, because John Lasseter was the chief creative officer at Disney, he more or less became the bottleneck of ideas. Meaning, you bring an idea to John, you were waiting for John to give you feedback, and waiting is what you did. You waited and you waited, and projects started to slow down, started to come in late, and the combination of those two of those seemed to have been the start of his downfall. And now we cut to Harvey Weinstein, who basically the reason the Me Too movement started, and there's a little phenomenon known as the Weinstein effect, where the momentum of taking down Weinstein was so great that other people were being targeted, and John Lasseter was one of those targets. In fact, from the people we talked to, almost all of them told us that it was just a matter of time. They knew that once Weinstein went down, Lasseter was going to be next, and not that necessarily he did something wrong, but his affectionate gestures, his penchant for hugging and touching, people knew that there was going to be trouble brewing. You've talked about spending time with John Lasseter yourself, Chris. That he liked to drink. He was a wine connoisseur, and it was confirmed to us that at public events, office parties, office celebrations, that Disney corporate had to have handlers with John to make sure that he didn't get into any trouble. And so when Me Too came around, it felt what people in the company felt like was that there was an activist element within the company that was gunning for John Lasseter, and so the stories came out about inappropriate touching, about inappropriate behavior at an Oscar party, and then soon accusation came out, and this, ultimately John would do a leave of absence. This is what you do in corporate world when there are accusations against you. You take a leave of absence, and you reflect, and I think and so this leave of absence went on for a few months, and then it was announced that John would be let go, and that he would finish out the year and be gone. And so what this article goes through is, some of the details of that, in terms of what seemed to happen was that there was people were just not 100% confident that the stories and allegations laid against John were accurate, and that they seemed political in nature. And it's not that they weren't accurate, but maybe that they were a little bit overblown. People, there are people who liked being hugged by John, people who look forward to one day getting a Lasseter hug, but certainly there are people who are not, who are not, they don't want to be hugged. They want their personal space, and that's perfectly fine. And I think from those people, some felt that that maybe their career was going to stall if they didn't submit to the hug. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. I think if you don't want to be hugged, you don't want to be hugged, and you shouldn't be penalized for that. But again, it just seemed like there was an activist element that was gunning for John Lasseter, and to basically make him an example. And it was ultimately his firing that kind of set the stage for kind of an internal civil war at Disney. And we're going to basically go through that in the coming weeks. But it just felt like that, that a lot of people were heartbroken, confused about John's leaving. And because of the Me Too movement, no one could say anything. No one could defend him without being accused of being a misogynist or a traitor to women. And so people were forced to keep their mouths shut. People couldn't even ask a question about what really happened. And then I think you told the story of, when at an all hands meeting, when it was announced that John was no longer going to be with the company, a woman raised her hand and said, "Can we let a woman run this place now?" And that took a lot of people off guard when they heard that. And so,
well, it's not only that people who were in favor of John they weren't allowed to have that opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There were, and you're going to see. So this is the first article. Obviously, the holidays are kicking off.
In January, the next one will come out.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is most people are actually already on holiday or already off work for the next couple of weeks. But this is part one before the holiday. Starting next year, this will be almost, I don't want to commit you to it like every week, but this will be a series of stories that will probably run over the next couple months, taking an aspect, and it'll be in chronological order. So this is really the beginning of this story. I read the letters that we received. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I read the story and worked with you on it. I had very few fixes here.
I'll say the next article, I believe, if assuming everything goes to plan, we'll show that a lot of the DEI stuff that we complain about over the last few years began long before Bob Iger came on board.
And not just that, we're going to reveal the companies that actually provide the DEI service and what the reaction to that is. And a quick thing, I got to do a shout out to Yellow Flash, who helped us with the AI art, and we appreciate it. He basically helped create that image, and then Alan kind of expanded on it. So thank you. Shout out to Yellow Flash.
Yeah,
always a big thanks to him. It's great.
I love it.
I might hit you up again, Yellow Flash. But in any case, it's an amazing read. And just thank you for, I will say this, the one criticism this article is going to get is unnamed sources. Mm-hmm. But here's what I'll say about that. There are a lot of other unnamed sources on the opposite side of the equation.
Yeah. Meaning
people who, how many times did a Me Too allegation happen and there was an unnamed source?
Yeah.
Apparently
I quote the Hollywood Reporter, the New Yorker, the New York Times, and all of them are reporting from unnamed sources.
So anyone that would critique this story as having unnamed sources, these are the unnamed sources that were in fear that they could not express themselves, either at Disney or to the trades. And I do feel that the trades are compromised. They're compromised in the sense that they want to put out a certain story, and once it was decided that this was the story that they were going to put out, no other voices were heard.
Yeah.
Okay. In this thing, it was okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And the thing here is if John Lasseter had done what he was accused of doing, then he should have been fired. He should have been out of there. But the thing is we don't know, even people within Disney, they heard the allegations and they couldn't say a thing and they couldn't ask questions. And so, so we don't know. He may have been guilty. He may not have been, but you can see that, when John left, there was a big defection from Disney Animation to Skydance Animation, and that should say something about how people and their belief as to whether John was guilty or not.
And let's just say this too. This is about men in power. And let me just say that
and white men in power. Let's put it that way.
What's that?
White men in power for
right. And so let's just say this. When Harvey Weinstein went down, what Harvey Weinstein did, Harvey Weinstein was a monster who did things that were illegal, which is why he is currently in prison.
Yes. He was convicted of the crimes he was charged with.
And John Lasseter is currently working, and a lot of people jump ship to work with John Lasseter. That alone should tell you something about him, that if John Lasseter was the monster that he was portrayed to be in these stories that came out, do you think people would still be working with him? No. The one thing that's interesting in your story, because you interviewed a lot of people about, he was kind of, when it came to, and I've heard this before, like in just dealing with creative people, sometimes you want to be cold with your criticism. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This is bad. This is why it's bad. Boom. Like he was just, when it came to the work, he was very, very direct. Some people don't take that well. When you do they do this thing, and they do it at San Diego Comic-Con and other places, they do a portfolio review. You don't do, if you're doing a portfolio review with someone, you don't do them any favors by saying, looks great, keep doing what you're doing. That's just give you enough rope, and you can, and you'll ruin your career. You won't even have one. You need specific critique to get better. And when you know anything, and I think everybody knows this story, the first Toy Story, they stopped working on it and said, they almost made the whole movie. They said, we got to stop. We got to start from scratch. This isn't working. Yeah. This is cool.
And that's happened many times at Pixar. I mean, The Good Dinosaur is another example of a story that stopped and had to be readjusted or done over again. So it's not uncommon.
And in the end, they still had to make a deadline and ended up with a movie that was less than what you would think the quality that Pixar should be putting out. But your story, I think, is very measured, very balanced, and provides a side that hasn't been heard and is worth hearing. So I hope that you'll check in. We'll let you know when upcoming installments, and it's going to bring us up to the present, climaxing with Wish and what went wrong. So, I mean, Alan and I have had many offline conversations. This could evolve into a book. You never know. Could evolve into a book. Who knows? But the series of articles.
We should make it clear. We don't know what happened. Chris and I don't know what happened at Disney during that time. We're only, again, people have reached out to us and wanted to get their story out. And that's what we're doing here.
And I will say this, the stories that people have been telling us, it's a long time coming. It's like everything sort of erupted after Wish. It's like, that's the last straw.
Yeah.
The Wish was sort of like the disappointment, not just creatively, financially, everything about Wish. And this year, the only movie that made money for Disney as a company was Guardians 3.
And it barely made money.
And everything else has been a disaster. Been a disaster.
Yeah. One thing to point out is what was the last project that John Lasseter worked on with Disney? And it was Coco. And Coco is considered to be the shining star, the gold standard of Pixar. And if you see the work since Coco, you know what kind of vacuum that's been left. And I think this is the point of the series and the article was not only was John's removal created a creative vacuum within Disney. John's removal also fundamentally changed the corporate culture of Disney to a place where you wanted to work, decades ago, to a place now that you avoid like the plague.
And we've heard that from a lot of freelancers who have done work for Disney. They have a reputation amongst creatives as a workplace that is toxic and bullying. There is a habit of bullying, and almost some of the stories they tell are like the people doing the bullying enjoy doing the bullying because that's all they are is bullying. We're talking about HR department. We're talking about, and you'll see this is, and you were telling me, excuse me, before we started, Alan, that this is the lightest of the stories. This is like,
yeah, because I mean, part of it is I don't think anything that I've said surprises anybody, about John's nature and about how he left, and the other thing was, when John was there, there was a feeling of family, of camaraderie amongst the employees,
right,
and that went when he left.
Well, I'm looking forward to the future installments, Alan. It's on the front page of Film Threat at filmthreat.com. Or if it's not on the front page, just look up the files. We should probably keep this on as the primary image for.
It'll be there until tomorrow morning. So,
what do we have
other movies?
I know we do, but you should make sure to feature it. Isn't there a way we can pin it?
Yeah, we can. Once social media goes out for it, then it'll appear in the bottom windows.
We will put a link in the description for this story, and you'll be able to read the entire thing. I love this photo, this piece of art that you made, which is great.
No, that was Lenuccio.
Yeah, no, but it's worth, and I hope some other YouTube channels check out the story. We'll put a link in the description for this episode of our live stream so that you can check out the story. You can just go to filmthreat.com right now. Let's go to your chat.
And I'll say that if you work for John and want to talk to us a little bit more, hit us up at filmthreat.com/contact.
Filmthreat.com/contact goes directly to Alan and I. And we protect our sources. Yeah. So feel free to reach out to us. Let's go to your chat comments and questions, starting with Crunchy Beaver. And thank you for that for 50.
For 50.
Very, very generous. This will be the first Christmas that my family and I will not be going to the movies. Nothing looks like it's worth seeing. Already saw Godzilla. How depressing. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you and Emperor Ng and to both of your families. Well, thank you for that, Crunchy Beaver. Appreciate it. I get it. For some families, it's like going to the movies on Christmas is a tradition. Now, just tune in on Friday. We're going to talk about other movies opening on Christmas, including The Color Purple, Anyone But You, and others.
The Iron Claw.
The Iron Claw. That may be the movie.
The Iron Claw.
The Iron Claw. If you're depending on how old the kids are, the Iron Claw is very good. It's heartbreaking and really good. Hey, Project Egg Roll.
My son.
That's basically your son and your daughter. Project Egg Roll. Hey, thank you so much. Gifted 10 Film Threat memberships. That's incredibly generous. Project Egg Roll, hit us up. It's so much fun. We hung out with Project Egg Roll during LA Comic-Con. It was a blast.
Yeah, and we had tamales too.
Project Egg Roll can drink. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Watch it there. Thank you for that. That's incredibly generous. Play the high note.
Subscribe to his channel.
Subscribe to Project Egg Roll. Do that. Play the high note for 5. Don't forget, Bob Iger was the big reason behind Twin Peaks getting canceled after he demanded the killer be revealed when he was president of ABC TV. Yet another stupid creative decision made by Bob Iger, including to make the Star Wars land at Disneyland based on
Batu?
Batu and all this made up BS that nobody cares about. It should have just been, you know what? Nobody cares. Just make it a Star Wars. It's Star Wars land and just mix it all up. It's sequels and prequels and nobody cares about that stuff. It's Star Wars land. Whatever. It's the world between worlds and nobody, you don't have to have a story behind the land. That is ridiculous. But thank you for that. Play the high note to remind us. Ben Henniger for 10, who's also a member. Thank you. Disney has fallen a long way since they made Tron or even Tron Legacy. Release Tron. I had this, I don't think I still have it. This Laserdisc box set of Tron. I still have my Toy Story Laserdisc box set that came with a book and all this. And the original Tron was it was so weird when it came out. It was like, I don't even know, what are they talking about? What's a RAM? Because people didn't understand computers
or a bit.
a bit. Like now, I think computer language, I think doing Tron now would be more interesting because more people have that kind of language, so they understand understanding. But yeah, no, it's
And let's remember, Tron was had a lot of computer generated animation in it.
a lot, and then also not a lot. A lot of it was
Yeah,
a lot of it was
crappy.
hand done, hand painted. If you see the documentary,
The backgrounds, and a great video game too.
I love that video game. Thank you, Ben. Matthew Hammond for 2. Did you see the black and white Godzilla -1 trailer? No. Did somebody just make that on YouTube? I'm gonna look it up now that you say that.
Well, it's really easy to do. You just
turn off your
color. Remove the color, pump up the contrast a bit, and then you have a trailer.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Black and white trailer comes right up. There you go. I will watch that later.
Yeah, but is it official or is it fan done?
It is I see kanji letters. So it's not, it's I don't know, it looks good. I'm gonna watch it later. That's really that's cool. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Andrew Monpetit, it's real, and they're calling it Godzilla -1 minus color.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, thank you for that, Andrew Mumpetit. Project Egg Roll, a couple comments here. Both Dad and Chris looking mighty fine tonight. Well, there you go. Look, do what your father says. You cannot dishonor the family. Project Egg Roll says, thank you for the shout out. Of course. Of course. We've hung out in real life. So there you go. Another super chat here. Kate C. AKA Snake Plush Kitten. Is that like a a play on Snake Plissken for 5?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
I love the ending where Arthur and Orm kill Black Manta by dumping him through a hole in the ice covering the Detroit River. What? Wrong movie? Yeah, I think that's the wrong movie. But yeah.
By the way, welcome to the 1,400 people watching us right now.
Yeah, thank you. If you are not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe. We recently passed the milestone of 100,000 subs, and Alan is very happy about that.
Yeah. And this should prove to you, Chris, that maybe our third show should be in the evening. And
yeah, I like in the evening, but I'm usually busy in the evening. Yeah, we're talking
Monday
about
evening. I mean,
we're launching a third show. It'll probably be Monday nights because we're looking at a night. We don't want to like step on other people's shows. There's Tuesday night's main event. There's the Whatever podcast that Alan watches religiously because of Madison. There's that's your other daughter, Madison from the Whatever podcast.
Yes,
my German, just Google
my German Asian daughter.
Right. Just Google that. Just look it up. What's happening on Thursdays? We're always at the movies. Friday is FNT. So we're trying to thread the needle.
Monday night, it seems to be.
Sunday night is Simpcast.
No, Monday night.
Right. But I'm saying Sunday night is Simpcast, and Alan cannot miss his. I don't think he's ever missed a Simpcast.
Yeah, I've never missed a Simpcast.
Forbidden Frontiers. That's Gary's show. There's too many good shows.
I've missed all of those.
I love it. I love it. Matthew Hammond is back for 2. It is being released in theaters in Japan. Is that true? Oh, wow. I would go see that. If they would just do like a Fathom Events, they would pack. Thank you, Matthew Hammond. So that's a legit, that's like official. We'll check it out. A lot more comments here, so please bear with us. And then we're going to have a review of Rebel Moon. It'll be an early reaction. And we're wrapping up the stream. But here we go. Dakin Black, can you guys release a series of videos to accompany the articles? Alan?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we normally do.
Well, I think
or are we talking like videos?
Oh, like we don't do video essays are comprehensive. Yeah. There's something that Nerdrotic does. I don't know Ryan that just to be able to do what we do with live streams. We haven't done video essays yet. It's something I could see us doing in the future. But for right now, no. But we'll let you know, like each article as they come out, Alan will talk about it. So you'll have access to Alan to actually ask him questions after you've read the article. This is the first time. Literally, this went up. Like we're setting up the stream, we're getting going. It's like, oh, could you make that article live, Alan? Like, oh, I forgot to do that. So in future,
I was waiting for it. Okay. We won't get behind.
It's all good. It's all good. In future, what we'll do is we'll put up the article, and then maybe the next, like we'll put it up maybe Wednesday morning, then talk about it in the afternoon, and you can actually ask questions after having read the article. And what we're hoping is maybe the articles are maybe people will do videos about them on other channels, which will drive traffic to the site. That would be good. Aaron Taylor, Brad Bird signed with Skydance as well. Damn, Brad Bird, one of the most talented directors. I mean, he did The Incredibles.
Yeah. He did one of the good Mission Impossibles.
There was talk of him doing a Star Wars movie. Interesting.
Yeah.
Red and Vadered for 5. I'm seeing the Iron Claw, not Craw, tomorrow. How does it measure to Gojira -1? By the way, great job on the Dis Nuts Files. Lol. They are completely different movies. Yeah, you can't compare those two. I mean, they're just different movies. I don't. One is a drama involving the world of wrestling that's tragic, and it's a biopic set, in the recent past. Yeah. And Gojira -1, Godzilla -1, they're just different. I don't know how they compare. I mean, like they're both, in terms of what they're both trying to achieve, very successful. Mm. Would you say that's fair, Alan?
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. Stitch for 20, who's also a member. Merry Crimbo, gents. Give Mies P Coffee a raise.
You all keep sending in those super chats.
Keep sending in the super chats. We appreciate it. Let's see. Shad and Yellow Flash equals Film Threat's new AI division. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to reach out to Shad. Okay, Shad is another person I could probably hit up for a favor. So before, when you get to know like what, so we're not scrambling at the last minute for an image. Let's make sure we'll do it far in advance. Yeah. Thank you for that, Andrew. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, because the ones I made were pretty lame. So thank you, Yellow Flash.
Well, Yellow Flash and Shad will reach out. Also, and by the way, Andrew, I want to come back to Grand Rapids Comic-Con. I got to meet Andrew face to face. We didn't get to hang out. I really wanted to hang out and just, I want to do a proper meetup, but I don't want to be the only one going there. It would be great if, say, Yellow Flash showed up, or maybe, who knows, Nerdrotic, come out to Grand Rapids Comic-Con for a weekend. Let's do some panels and a meetup. Love to do that. Oh God, Rob Ogato says, just Googled John Lasseter for news, and the Film Threat D Files article is top of the list. Whoa. Wow.
Well, it did that for me on Bing, but not.
I'm going to switch to Bing. What the heck am I using Brave for? Thank you, Rob Ogato.
Yeah, we're top at under news, but not under general.
Let's see. Talk of SD. I assume that's San Diego. Sounds like a great read. I'm going to the Film Threat website. Thanks for sharing. You guys put in the work. Thank you, Talk of SD. Maybe we'll see you. Alan and I are attending the Chrissy Mayer comedy show on January 5th and 6th. I don't remember. One of the two.
Are you going to both days for sure? Or
I might, because
I need to know the one you're going to for sure.
Well, I can stay with family close to San Diego. We'll talk before that. Yeah. I talk to you every day.
I know.
Yeah.
Plus, Nicholas, your family's on the way down for me to San Diego.
Right. You could meet my aunt.
Yeah.
She lives on the road.
Yeah.
Nicholas Vargo
watching right now.
She's probably watching the show. No, my family doesn't watch the show.
I know, neither does
my
mine.
family does not watch my show. They're like, yeah, I get enough of you in real life, Chris. I don't need to. Yeah. Nicholas Vargo for $9.99. Sorry, I've been MIA. Hope you guys caught Die Hard last week. I didn't, just busy. Still plays great in the theater. Seeing It's a Mad, 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 Mad World at the Egyptian on Friday and can't wait. Never seen it in a theater. Nicholas, I'm going. Look for me there.
On Friday? In 2 days or
in 2 days, Friday.
Oh, that's so tempting.
At the Egyptian, I've seen it in a theater. I'm gonna go. There's a bar. Let me tell you the bar. It's this Irish pub. I think it's just called Jameson's. They have a really good happy hour, an amazing burger and steak dinner that's cheap, and it's like on the opposite side of the street as the Egyptian. So I will probably be at Jameson's, and then I'm going to go see It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And then my plan is to see Batman Returns on Saturday. And then where am I going on Saturday night? Jumbo's Clown Room. So there you go. I'm going to be there with some Film Threat related people. Might be Danica, Comic Book Girl 19. You never know. You never know who's going to be at Jumbo's on a Saturday. Nicholas, I'll see you there. Look for me, man. Thank you for that. MK Solid 82 for $4.99. We need a black and white clip of Alan freaking out that Godzilla is coming as a total Asian stereotype. Happy holidays, guys.
Yeah, I'll have to find my camera. No, I'm not doing it.
You could do it, Alan. Just turn the...
I know.
All right. Thank you, MK Solid 82. Hansman, who's a member for 2. AI images suck and take away jobs from real artists. I agree, but we're in the realm of copyright issues, so we have to be careful. And I believe that AI art, like I can't do AI art. AI is a tool that needs to be in the hands of an artist. I am not an artist. But like, for example, like I know how to use Photoshop. I'm not good at Photoshop. I believe AI must be in the hands of a real artist who knows how to do something creative. So while like I agree with the sentiment, I believe that AI, just like Photoshop, just like a brush, you know, the brush didn't take away a chisel. Photoshop didn't, you know, you still need to know. God, I've seen my friend Bobby Schwartz, who is an artist from Dual Animal Comics. He has this comic book company. I've seen him with an iPad. He just takes an iPad. He's got the little stylus. It'll just sit there like this. And in 5 minutes, he turns it around, and I'm shocked what he makes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's just using like some photo. Like, I do think that you need the mind of an artist behind it to make it actually good. And I believe jobs will evolve, but artists will never go away. So I'm taking the optimistic view, Hansman. And thank you for that. John Maciel, Film Threat is top result for John Lasseter news on both Brave and Google. That's encouraging.
Yeah, wow.
It's really encouraging. Me Too gave liars power, says Vindictive. Well, what it did is it created the assumption that people who may have been exaggerating were telling the truth. So there you go.
Let's also be real that there are real victims out there of
that's the thing is like that's what kind of sucks. Like
I mean look, the Casting Couch feature that used to be in Film Threat,
right?
I mean, that stuff was going on. The Harvey Weinstein was it's sad that it took Harvey Weinstein to take down the industry like that when this stuff had been going on for decades.
Right. Jarek Harmoning for 2 says, did you see the Egyptian Theater mini doc on Netflix? I did not see it on Netflix. I saw it at the Egyptian.
Yeah, me too.
Alan and I went to an event. We went to an event where basically Alan and I, I'll even show you, you know what? I have the picture. Alan and I went to the Egyptian and we received a bribe. What was our bribe? Do you remember, Alan?
I just remember a lot of really good food.
I'm going to show you. No, it wasn't that. Let me hang on. I'm going to show you for a second because you may or may not remember this.
I don't remember it. We
took a photo, and this is Alan at the Egyptian, and we went. We're opening the theater with the new. It's The Egyptian Theater in Hollywood on Hollywood Boulevard is a movie palace. It's not a movie theater. It is a movie palace. It is stunning. I mean, the pageantry, the sort of the little courtyard area, the decor, the artwork on the ceiling. It's just gorgeous. And what did they do? They plied us with popcorn. Alan and I, at that event.
Yeah. In fact, at this moment, they were literally telling us, take as much as you want.
No, they were literally saying, take all the popcorn you want.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was fun. So yes, I've seen the documentary and it's fantastic. More comments here, and thank you for that, Jarek. A few more comments and we got to pivot. Did you walk like an Egyptian at the Egyptian, says Gung Ho Mac? No, I did not. John Lasseter's story is incredible. If you don't know it, go watch the Pixar story, says Andrew Mumpetit, who goes on to say, I'm a full-time freelance artist and am not worried about AI at all. You train to be an artist because you love art and would make it regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
So, and
Andrew goes on chairs rather than buys chairs, you know?
Yeah. We're going to hold comments here. We're just a few more. We're going to pivot to Rebel Moon. But Andrew Mappetit says, I was so disheartened when they threw John Lasseter to the curb. And now I'm frustrated how they ruined a good thing. And Latino Slant, our buddy Paulie, subscribe to Latino Slant. He's on his way to 100,000 subs. Says, congratulations on this, guys. Well, if you want to get a lot of traffic for your channel, Paulie, you would rush a video out and you would read the story on Latino Slant so that someone can read Alan's story to me. And there you go. But thank you, Paulie. We appreciate you. All right. It's time to pivot for a second. Let's talk about, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play another video while we pivot. So we got to talk about something else here.
Ovaltine? A crummy commercial? Son of a bitch.
I don't know. That line delivery on that was so difficult for me. Let's talk about Rebel Moon, Part 1, Child of Fire. This is Zack Snyder's.
Oh, it's a Part 1.
It's Part 1. This is Zack Snyder's purported to be a pitch that Zack Snyder pitched to Lucasfilm for a potential Star Wars movie. This is what it's purported to be. It is a science fiction film set in a faraway universe, not connected to anything in particular, but it's connected to many previous science fiction films that came before it. It is focused on a story of a young woman named Cora, played by Sofia Boutella, and she is a former military special operative. Let's just say that. She has previously worked for the Empire, so she comes preloaded with a special set of skills. We meet Cora as she is plowing the field on a planet where she is part of a farming community. People who live on the outskirts of the galactic empire who want to live a simple, peaceful life. And this people from the empire come and visit Cora and the small farming community. And effectively, they're there to steal all of their produce, steal all the fruits of their labor, and leave them with barely anything to survive. This oppressive galactic empire that hails from a central planet does this to all the planets, all little small planets in the galaxy that don't really have protections, meaning warriors to protect them from these elements in the empire that are effectively shaking them down. This is no different than the mafia, right? Go to a planet, shake them down, give us your resources or else. And they're forced to do it. But Cora is special as being part of this community. She knows a little something, and she's been a part of this galactic empire. And so she takes off with a young man named Gunnar, and the two of them are traveling the galaxy to collect a group of people with special skills, including General Titus, played by, I'm going to mispronounce his name, but you've seen this actor before, Digimon Honsu.
Jamin Hansu, yeah.
Jimon Hunsu. Bai Duna plays a character named Nemesis, who's effectively a samurai. She wields two swords that blaze and look something like lightsabers. She's discovered on a planet dispensing with a evil spider, played by, believe it or not, Jenna Malone. Zack Snyder likes to work with a lot of the same actors. So what is the story of Rebel Moon? We only got a taste of the world when we saw the initial trailer for the first movie, Rebel Moon. But what is the story? I'll tell you exactly what the story is. It's basically Seven Samurai, which was remade as a Western, The Magnificent Seven, which was then remade as another Western years later. But it also owes a lot more to, I can't believe I'm telling you this, Battle Beyond the Stars. No one remembers this movie, but probably me, but Battle Beyond the Stars, which had a great soundtrack from James Horner, which he effectively reused for Star Trek to the Wrath of Khan, stars Richard Thomas from the Waltons. He was John Boy Walton, who's a young farm boy who's shaken down by this evil leader played by John Saxon. And then Richard Thomas's character, he takes off in the galaxy, collects a bunch of different individuals. I am very fond of remembering Sybil Danning, who was in that movie. She had amazing armor. In any case, if you've seen Battle Beyond the Stars, that's effectively the story of Rebel Moon. Korra begins to collect a group of misfit mercenaries to protect her planet, her adopted planet, against this invasion, striking at the heart of the Empire. Does the movie work? It didn't work for me. I found the production design was messy and all over the place, where you've got like some of it is influenced by Westerns. You've got some of the Galactic Empire people effectively wearing like skinny ties out of like some 80s band, new wave punk band. You've got like Bai Duna who has wielding the two samurai swords, the red samurai swords, dressed in some long hat. It was so weird. Like there was no design, no consistent design, in addition to the fact that the movie Rebel Moon is colored in a way that like it's like Zack Snyder used Instagram filters and set them all to dark. And by the way, I didn't see this movie on Netflix. I didn't watch a screener on my television. I saw this movie at the Egyptian in 70 millimeter, and it still looked muddy, which was very disappointing. So some of it just felt boring. There was so much plodding along where it's like, I get what you're trying to do. I get it. And this is a huge gamble for Netflix, because this is part one of what's supposed to be not just a 2-part story. Zack Snyder also has a completely different cut of this movie, a long version. Well, I'm not joking. Additionally, if you walk into a Walmart, they already have Rebel Moon action figures, and there are comic book prequels about some of the characters. He's building his own Star Wars universe, or at least this is what Netflix is aspiring to do. I can't sit here and tell you that there weren't some moments where I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. But nearly every action sequence, every fight scene, and even key moments and imagery from Rebel Moon is from another movie. And I felt like I was watching, like someone took Battle Beyond the Stars, Krull, Ice Pirates, Akira, put it in a blender, and made this movie. It's influenced by all of those things. It's influenced by low budget, cheap 80s sci-fi done with modern effects. And I can't sit here and tell you, like, some of the effects were pretty cool. Some of the spaceships pretty cool, but I was really not engaged with the characters. There is a moment, no spoilers on this. We'll talk about it tomorrow, Alan, because I really need to see this. There are some good action sequences. It's just too little too late. I wasn't engaged with the characters in the story. It doesn't necessarily end on a cliffhanger, but it doesn't complete the full story. Bottom line for me, this film missed the mark. I can't say it was a success. Do I care about part 2? Not really. This was a gamble for Netflix, and I feel like they came up short. They really came up short. And a lot of it is, I hate to say this, it's Zack Snyder's self-indulgence where this movie failed more than anything. So look, if I had to rate it, I'd probably give it something around a 4 or a 5 out of 10. And even whereas, like I was talking about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom before, where I had fun, I didn't have fun watching this movie. I found parts of it insufferable, parts of it cringe, and parts of it like eye rolling. So make of that what you will. And it's also something, it proves something. When you're engaged with the characters and you actually really care about the characters, you'll overlook effects or things that are dumb, right? Like, I am fully aware that a lot of what we saw in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is completely stupid. But because I cared about the characters, like, I know this is bad. Like, this is what we're just trying to have a good time. This movie, there's a scene that's right out of the cantina in Star Wars that's so poorly done. There's some interesting characters, but it's like you walk in, it's like, ooh, it's their version of the cantina from Star Wars. It's the Rebel Moon, and it doesn't work. And it's PG-13, but this was originally billed to be an R-rated Star Wars. It was going to be R-rated. We're going to have nudity and over-the-top violence, limbs being chopped off, gory deaths. It doesn't do that. If they were going to do it and they really wanted to do an R-rated Star Wars, they should have gone full in. Make it more adult, make it sci-fi that makes you think. And the world building is where this movie really failed. The world building, they didn't really set it up. We learn about Korra's backstory in the middle of the movie. She just is a badass from the beginning, but we learn, like, hey, she went through training. She was a big part, and she turned her back on the Empire because she's a good person. And look, you can't blame any of the actors for this. Sofia Boutella has been incredible in other films. Kingsman comes to mind, where I thought she was great. But and Charlie Hunnam as well. But and Bai Duna, I love her in Cloud Atlas. I thought she was fantastic. But overall, just this film failed for me. Like I say, probably a 4 or 5. And I'm curious to hear what you think. It's on Netflix on Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. It comes out. So, Alan, you got a late night ahead of you.
Yeah.
And there's an early look, no spoilers. That's my early review for Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire.
Yeah, I'm baffled by, I mean, it's coming to Netflix. I assume the Egyptian is the only theater you can watch it.
You can see it in a theater at the Egyptian. It's playing. That's basically
that's the only place you can see it in Hollywood.
Now, the Egyptian, they share the Egyptian with the American Cinematheque, so they do retrospective screenings. Then they screen the Netflix movies play at the Egyptian. Also, it's a beautiful venue.
Yeah,
but
but I mean, look, it sounds like it should have been rated R. It sounds like it would have been more interesting if it was rated R.
Yeah.
And if you're going straight to Netflix, why not just do a rated R movie? Was the intent to open it up to kids? I mean, that seems short-sighted at this point.
No, I think they were looking to capitalize on adult Star Wars fans that are.
But to make it PG-13, it just sounds like you're cutting yourself off at the legs there.
Yeah.
And then this is his version of Star Wars. Are they just saying that, or were there?
No. He pitched this as
like a Rogue One type thing,
like he pitched this to Lucasfilm as a Star Wars movie.
Okay.
So There you go. We're going to look at your chat comments and questions, but here's what I'll say is we will have a full spoiler review on Friday of both Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and Rebel Moon Part 1 Child of Fire. Let's go to our comments here. I got to do a shout out to Nerd Cookies. Quick shout out and a little aside. This is only for Nerd Cookies, no one else. Sounds like A Bug's Life, but A Bug's Life was based on Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
So this story, so yes, that was the basis of Bug's Life, Battle Beyond the Stars. Watch Battle Beyond the Stars, Nerd Cookies. It's also Magnificent Seven, which is a Western, and Seven Samurai. So this is a story that has been told many times. And Nerd Cookies, I saw your breakdown of the Dune Part 2 trailer, the third one, and I have a theory. One of your complaints I thought was a very good complaint, that Chani is Chani's a skeptic. In the trailer, we see her kind of being a skeptic, but she's not in the book, and that's true because I've also read the book. But there are sort of characters that are inconsequential that could be considered skeptics. The thing is that Chani and Paul's relationship in the book is kind of boring. I love you. I'm a believer. Well, let's keep loving each other, especially if you look at like the David Lynch version of Dune, which is accurate to the book. It's like, I love you, Paul. I love you, Chani. Okay. There's no conflict really between the two of them. I mean, there's tragedy, but no conflict. I think it's interesting that they said, well, let's take the conflict of someone being skeptical of Paul Muad'Dib as the Messiah, and let's actually give all of that. Let's give that conflict to Chani. It makes it more interesting. So look, I haven't seen the movie. I haven't read this. All I've seen is I've seen all the trailers you've seen, and I don't know anything about this aspect. I actually think that's kind of interesting, is to have Chani be skeptical, right? So there you go. And thank you, Nerd Cookies. I watch your channel. Obviously, and everyone should subscribe to Nerd
I have
Cookies.
no idea what you just said.
Yeah, that's super inside. I said this is a private message only for Nerd Cookies. Super chats here from Matthew Hammond for 5. Another part 1. Why tell people that you will get an incomplete story? There are not too many people that can pull off a satisfying part 1. Well, I can just say this. It was not satisfying. How about that? And I think they should have just made one movie. And if it was successful, then you make a part. But I don't know. It's like so much of this, the concept had a lot of potential. But you're right. I feel like people get exhausted. I think that's why people have checked out of Marvel movies. I don't want to have to see another one. Like we watched that Chris D'Elia comedy bit where he's talking about there's too many Marvel movies. Like each one, it's like, it's over. Just end it. End everything. You know?
Nothing pissed me off more this year than finding out that Fast and the Furious 10 was a part 1.
Another part 1. Darth Racer 777 for 5. Rebel Moon, just another girl boss. It's not as annoying as we've seen it in other movies, but yeah, you're right. Carnell for 5. Hey, Carnell. Hail Film Threat. Chris, I meant to ask you this on today's Nooner. Which is better, and would you rather watch Rebel Moon or Sucker Punch, and why? Ooh, good one. Probably Sucker Punch. I still think Sucker Punch has a lot of the same problems as Rebel Moon, but at least Sucker Punch is fun. It's got Nazi zombies and girls in schoolgirl outfits that are sexy. What's wrong with that?
And lobotomies.
And lobotomies. Yeah, no, I'd rather watch. I've seen them both, and I'll say Sucker Punch, probably more fun. And thank you for that, Carnell. Always like to see you in here. You have something to add. Continuing, Nerd Cookie says, agreed, Chris. It could be interesting if done right. Well, everything if done right could be good. But like, I know they're making changes to it. I get it. David Lynch made a lot of changes with the little sound thing. What do they call those? He no longer needs the modulator.
Now back to Rebel Moon.
The weirding module. What am I like? The weirding module. What deep? My God. Now I'm gonna watch
back to Rebel Moon. Come on.
Back to Rebel Moon, folks. Thank you, Nerd Cookies. Your channel, subscribe to Nerd Cookies. Demonic Rebellion. I'm with Alan. It seems really weird to want to do an R-rated Star Wars and then release a PG-13 version and already having toys in the stores really seems like they want to capitalize on marketing. Yeah, disheartening.
Well, let's
It
just
is
say
what it
that
is.
that the Egyptian has a gift shop.
The Egyptian has the official Netflix gift shop. You
So,
can get like
so they need merch for the
right,
gift shop.
whatever. Red Invader for 5. I vote for evenings with Film Threat. Daytime are filled with live streams. Can't live interact with them. Are you guys planning on doing Christmas or New Year's streams? I don't know. Alan?
I mean, we're doing streams the next 2 weeks, just not on Christmas or New Year's.
I would do a New Year's stream because I don't go out on New Year's. New Year's is amateur night.
Yeah, I think Christmas would be the only one I couldn't do.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, we're not going to do Christmas. Alan, I need to give Alan a day off. So, Alan, you don't have to work on Christmas.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Scrooge.
Oh my God. Okay, now you have to do a video, Glenn. Glenn's making fun of us. You got to do a video now where I'm Scrooge and oh my God. Okay, that's cool. But yeah, no, we might do a New Year's one. I know we're not breaking our like we will do our shows on Wednesday and Friday. But like, yeah, if we do a Monday stream, we're gonna create a name for the show. It'll be different. What I'd like our Monday show, and because we have a lot of people watching, I want to like throw this out there. We want to do a Monday show. We might call it Monday Movie Talk, MMT. That's one of the names that Alan likes.
Yeah.
Maybe call it Versus, but we want to do a group show. You know how like FNT has a group of people. Tuesday night's main event, a big group of people. I want to do a group show where it's a bunch of different voices that you don't hear all the time. I would like Paulie from Latino Slant to be a part of that. So do a group show, but a different show, a different type of show with just a different group of people that you don't get to see normally. And we would just talk about box office and movies and all that stuff. But thank you for that. A very generous super chat here from some dungeon master guy for 20. I'm looking forward to Godzilla X Kong. It's the kind of goofy stuff that the Showa era built the entire franchise on, and I can't hate it. -1 is superior, but as long as GXK doesn't go to Hollywood, then it'll be fine. I just that one shot of Godzilla running.
Oh, it's so lame.
It looked lame to me. I'm sorry.
And then after seeing -1, it's like, how can you even dare to live up to that?
It seems like a step backwards. It does seem like a step backwards.
I mean, it doesn't go to Hollywood. I think it will go to Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm not down with the pink, whatever the pink scale. I don't like it.
I don't care.
Hey, Nicholas Vargo for $4.99. I have to ask: have you guys ever seen The Silent Partner with Elliot Gould and Christopher Plummer? I saw it last week and was blown away by it. I haven't seen it,
but I have seen Sound of Music yesterday with Christopher Plummer.
Why were you watching that? Just for fun?
No, because my kid put it on, and I couldn't turn it off.
I'm looking forward to having a break where I can just watch movies I want to watch because I like that movie, and that's what I plan to do. Thank you, Nicholas, but we haven't. Apologies, Matthew Hammond. Chris is the ghost of Christmas past. I think Scrooge is probably better. I think Scrooge might be better for me.
More appropriate, yes.
Yeah. Mary Chocolate Fairy. This sounds like reviews of The Creator. It was new, but seemed like lots of other sci-fi movies. That's true.
Why are we not able to pull off sci-fi this year?
I don't know.
And
we have from Rumble, Uli Kui. PG-13 was a mistake. I agree.
Yeah, especially if you're going to Netflix. Because kids still are going to watch it. So
Jupiter Cyclops says, dang, that is so disappointing. I was hoping for some good sci-fi finally. It's been years. And JTPRX says, Empire, real original, Zachy. Thank you for being a member, JTPRX. Giant Claw, I can't wait for the 6-hour R-rated cut where 75% of it is a slow motion music video. Oh, there's slow motion stuff in it, all right. There is slow motion stuff in it.
Zack Snyder.
And we're going to end on a series of comments from Rebel Moons Not Developed, but Sophia Butella's gorgeous emoji with heart eyes. Says, Alan, it's in Texas, LA, and London.
Okay.
Selected cinemas only. So you can see it. And
it's in 3 theaters around the world.
More comments from Rebel Moon's not developed, but Sofia Boutella is gorgeous. Can't wait to hear Gore's take on Rebel Moon. You just heard it. Sofia Boutella's performance was good. Her screen was strong enough to lead the film. I love her. I have no complaints about her. But once again, Zack Snyder and his writers are not very good at conveying and building narratives properly. I would say character development is the thing that is missing the most from Rebel Moon.
Didn't Gary say that he's a better director than he is a writer?
Yes. And then finishes, and the world building is almost non-existent. That is the big problem. The world building is non-existent. So there you go. We've gone about 2 hours today, and we still have 1,300 watching us, which probably means we're going to start a new stream.
Yeah.
That'll be, we're going to do, we're going to do a third show. We're just trying to figure out, it'll probably be Mondays at a certain time. You will know about it. We just got to get through January. I don't think we're going to do it January because of Sundance.
I think Monday night is the night we generally don't have something going on.
Then so we'll do that Monday night, but it might be like earlier. It might be at like 5 p.m. Pacific time, which would be 8 p.m. Eastern time. We will let you know. So that wraps it up for us today. I want to thank you to our mod today, Latino Slant, and Ms. Pea Coffee. She never thanks herself ever. There's no thanking Ms. Pea Coffee. Join us on, first of all, you really want to join us on Friday, not just for reviews of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom spoiler review, Rebel Moon spoiler review, Anyone But You review. We're going to also have reviews of, we don't have a special guest on Friday. Wait. But we are also going to review The Color Purple, among others. What else? Anselm, Migration, Merry Little Batman. It's going to be a packed reviews on Friday. And Alan and I, it's the Film Threat Holiday Special. Alan and I will do a gift exchange. And I'm going to read some of the comments and letters and cards that have been sent our way. So there you go. Alan, are you excited about our gift exchange?
Yes, super excited. Are you muffled? I don't know if your mic is muffled because of the.
Is my mic muffled?
I think the music you're playing, the sleigh bells, is somehow muffling your mic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a special treat for you right now. Here we go. Well, that's what you can expect on the Film Holiday Special is some classy entertainment. That wraps it up for us. Alan, and I want to thank you. Over the last year, we have grown from 60,000 to now almost 105,000 subs. Want to thank you. Want to thank you also for being a part of the show. We appreciate you and all the. I've had the opportunity to meet so many of you in person at Award This, which Alan, probably one of my favorite moments from Award This actually involved Alan.
Independent horror films scare the living poop out of my bunghole.
Bunghole. Bunghole. Kind of like that. Bunghole.
All right. The Film Threat Holiday Special is Friday. Have a great rest of your night. Alan, what do you wait?
Okay, hold on.
Oh, wait. Okay, Matthew Hammond, why can I not find American Fiction in theaters for 2? It is in limited release.
Yeah, for awards, and then I believe it opens up in January.
It opens in January in wide release. It'll be in more theaters. Right now, it's in limited theaters. That unfortunately happens to a lot of the small indie movies that we do cover on the channel. So it is.
But it will be prominent during award season.
All right, Alan. And so thank you to everyone. We'll see you on Friday. Alan,
let's get out of here.